collide with budgets blown and hopes denied. Movie studios chasing the crowd, six armed voices shouting loud.
Good evening, one. Good evening, all. Welcome to this August 9th through 11th edition of Show Business. I come to you, as always, as Charles, otherwise known as CPO. We're running a couple of streams in a row, so this is going to be a relatively tight episode, but the headliner will be appearing in about an hour, so there's that. But also with us, there's Lindsay of My Two Cents of Nonsense.
Hello, I am the opening act apparently, and I am okay with that. I saw probably the worst movie of the year this weekend. What was it? You probably know. I'm not saying yet. Ha
And lastly but not leastly, welcome back, Gray.
Gray!
Hey, I'm Gray. It's good to be here.
The life of the party, everyone.
Yeah, that's me.
So, nope, I did something wrong.
Uh-oh.
This is bad.
Yeah.
This is
Uh-oh.
bad.
Uh-oh.
Hands up, I didn't do
Not
it.
good, not good, not good. All right, so to the weekend that was, Deadpool and Wolverine hung on with $54 million. It ends with Us, the Blake Lively film, brought in $50 million.
Oh, wow.
Twisters stayed in the top three with $15 million, and that's available on VOD tomorrow. For number 4 is Borderlands with $8.6 million.
That's
And
cute.
rounding out the top 5 is Despicable Me 4 with $8 million. So, Lindsay, you were talking about the worst movie you've seen.
Yeah.
Am I guessing wrong in saying that it ends with Us?
Yeah, no, man, I hate that Blake Lively. No, I honestly, actually, I love Blake Lively. If you've never seen The Shallows, check it out. It's a really good movie.
Oh,
She's amazing
yeah.
in it. But yeah, no, man, Borderlands. And that 8.6, I would, if I had money to bet right now, I would put it on this movie's going to tank this weekend. I think it's not going to do 4. It's going to do maybe 2 if it's lucky. This movie's bad, man. It's hard to watch. Nobody's enjoying it. I was in a theater full of Borderlands fans, and they were all kind of talking about it as it was going. But the movie was so bad, I kind of didn't care. But also, they didn't care, and they were all just pointing out all how they were just like doing things wrong. So it's like I'm a very casual Borderlands fan.
During the movie, they were just commenting out loud?
Just kind of like just whispering to each other and stuff like that. So just like I could hear that like the people around me just really did not like this thing. So like a casual fan didn't like it. Hardcore fans didn't like it. Critics are destroying it. What's it at 7% on Rotten Tomatoes right now, up from a 0. Good for it, I guess.
Oh, I didn't know
fans though.
I thought it got to 10. Didn't it get?
Was that 10? Hey, good for it. I'm proud of it. But no, this is a horrible, horrible mess of a movie. Like everyone keeps comparing it to Guardians of the Galaxy, and I get it, but like honestly, it's closer to Suicide Squad. You feel the butchering that it got in the edits. Like the first 20 to 30 minutes, there's this insane amount of voiceover, and then that just disappears magically. There's a lot of characters that are talking that are off screen, so like obviously they're filling gaps in the holes. Eli Roth directed it. But then he didn't direct it, and it was supposed to be an R-rated movie, and now it's a super hard PG-13 that doesn't even like really dip its toes into maybe becoming an R-rated movie. The original writer took his name off of it.
What's a hard PG-13 though?
I mean, there's barely any blood. There's not even like the single F-bomb that you could do for fun.
See, that sounds like a soft PG-13. I think we need to redefine your definition of hard.
Well, I meant like extremely PG-13. I guess, okay, you're right.
Sounds like a hard PG, if anything.
I hate, I'm good with words. Stop being mean to me over words. I don't know on what level this movie succeeded. I love Cate Blanchett. She's one of the best actresses working today. She's 55, and this movie constantly talks about her like she's 22. It keeps saying, "Oh, when you were a child," to a character who's like 5 years older than her. It's like, what? Like, I don't care that she's playing a younger character, but like, don't draw attention to it. Don't constantly have characters say like, "Oh, I remember your mom when you were a child. You were also a child. Stop acting like you were 30." It's like the tone is off. It's at odds with itself. it's bad. It's so bad it makes Jack Black unlikable. Do you know how hard it is for Jack Black to be unlikable?
Ask the right way.
Lately, not as yeah.
Okay, fair. But
No
just
politics. Sorry, my fault.
He is like top 5 most charismatic people on the planet, and he's not funny in this. He was funny in the Never-Ending Story 3, but he's not funny in this. How do you manage that? I'm not being mean to Jack Black. I love Jack Black. It's just he was given nothing to work with, and you know,
I mean,
sometimes
he had
you
the
need something.
expelling lead scene.
Yeah. You know what's funny about that scene is like if it was like a really simple thing where he just like opened a compartment and all the bullets just fell out of him, that would have been hilarious because it's just reinforcing the fact that he's indestructible. That's amazing. But the fact that they made it this long drawn out thing where he's pooping bullets out for like 2 minutes, it's just like
He did lead to like the only laugh I had in the movie.
Oh, so you have seen it. I thought I was the only one. I apologize.
I unfortunately I have also seen it. I don't hated it quite as much as everybody else does, but I don't know. There was one good laugh, and almost everybody there was laughing at. It's the little flower scene. I don't know. That got me. It's a little misdirect. It seems a little sappy, and then all of a sudden, Jack Black enters the screen. Yeah, I don't know. It was a little bit of a misdirect. It kind of got me to chuckle a little bit. It seemed to be a pretty good pop in my audience. So I don't know. There's a couple redeeming things, but yeah. This wasn't the one that you were talking about when you said the worst movie of the year, though, was it? Or spoilers, maybe.
I did say there's another movie that I saw that is also a contender for worst movie of the year that we're doing in the second stream. We will get there.
Check out Hour 2, otherwise known as the next stream.
Well, we're planting seeds so people come back. I guess I should be a couple nice things. That scene where like the guy is like wearing like the collar that projects a face onto his head.
Yeah, those masks were awesome.
Yeah, that was sick. I did like that. It's a clever way to do like a long distance communication thing in the future. That was kind of cool. She wasn't right for the part, but I do like Cate Blanchett. I thought she did great, as great as she could.
As a 55-year-old, 30-year-old?
She's supposed to be 22, but fair enough.
Wow.
Okay, so you have the option to adapt like whatever IP, and Cate Blanchett is involved. I would put her in any role she wanted, essentially.
100%.
With Gina Gershon. I think Gina Gershon did a little bit better of a job in this one, but
which one was she? I know was she the one in
Moxie.
the... Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm definitely not the target audience for this. I'm familiar with the games. I played the first one pretty extensively, the second one a little bit, but I never like finished them or anything like that. It was always just kind of over to Buddy's house.
Who is
I don't know.
the target audience for this?
I don't know. That's a good question. I'm like somewhat familiar with the IP, but I don't know. It's interesting though. The writing credit. So you did mention that one of the writers took themselves off of it, but it does have 2 writing credits for it. So one's Eli Roth, and then the other one is Joe Abercrombie, but that's actually just like a fake, whatever, nom de plume or whatever. They wanted to take their name off it, but it isn't the original guy. Apparently, it's a third writer who didn't want to be listed on this. So it feels like there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen, so to speak, on this one. I don't know. I wonder if Eli Roth's R-rated version would have been somewhat decent. Like, it has weird scenes where, like, all right, somebody's surrounded with people, and then all of a sudden, like, it'll kind of cut away, and then they're just on the ground. Like, maybe there was something that connects that, but without it, it just seems odd.
I would call this a lost, like again, like Suicide Squad. I don't necessarily think the David Ayer version would be better, but I would be fascinated to see. I mean, that's not true. It would be better than the one that we got. I don't know if it would be a great movie, but it would be better than the movie that we got. But I would love to see the Eli Roth cut of this movie. That would be very interesting.
And that's the thing. Like, he did this in 2021. So it was while he was kind of doing Thanksgiving. Supposedly it was shot before. They were doing some editing towards it. So, I mean, like, he made what a lot of people are saying, like, a return to form, like, right after this. I don't know. It kind of sucks because it's also the dude from Deadpool who came in to do the other directing. Yeah, thank you. I was blanking on Tim Miller's name.
Isn't the reason that the original writer took their name off is because Eli Roth changed it so much?
I believe so, but it wasn't just Eli Roth. Apparently, there was another writer involved as well, and that's the dude who changed.
So we got a version that nobody really wanted to give us.
It sounds like it.
Great.
I also wonder because I think it was what the changes that happened with the reshoots, because there was a lot of rewrites that happened. Like I think that Tim Miller did for those reshoots. I think those also contributed to Craig Mazin wanting to take his name off the movie, because it just didn't feel like this is a little bit of speculation mixed with things that I've read. So it's like it didn't it didn't resemble what he did originally, and he didn't want to be associated with it. Which it's not the only writer that's ever happened to.
True.
I just don't know, because the cost of it was close to $100 million, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, 120.
They're not.
But they made back like 8. So
there you go. Hold on, I want to know the percentage of that because it's less than 8.
If they make that and don't lose any percentage points, they might get their money back by this time next year.
0.06%.
Doubt it, because so I was talking to others and they were saying that they didn't see ads for this nonstop, but man, my YouTube feed just nothing. Like I have skipped so many ads for this movie. It is crazy. So I don't know. They have to be spending quite a bit on the budget. I thought maybe they were doing like a little bit of a boom on it because of the whole like negative Jack Black thing, but maybe I'm reading too much into that.
Yeah, the one thing that if you just told me the cast, I'd be at least a little intrigued. Kevin Hart is quite a draw. I mean, you just go to Jumanji. I don't know if that's
him in The Rock.
So I was just going to say, I don't know if that's something you get put on The Rock, but Kate Blanchett's, Jamie Lee Curtis is in. Like, there's names where it's like
everyone in there is a name except for is it Ariana Greenblatt? I believe her name
she's
is.
Been in a few things, but yeah, she's definitely.
She has, but she seemed like the one who was the most excited to be there, who was actually doing the most, who was enjoying herself. Everybody else, like, I don't know what it is, but it's like Kevin Hart. You could put him in almost anything, and I'm gonna love him. In this, he just felt so bland. Like I don't know. It felt like everyone was just kind of like sleeping through. Like nobody really wanted to be there.
Well, there's also this like weird phenomenon where like the movie like it straight up feels incompetent in moments, because like one of the opening scenes is Kevin Hart breaking we just said her name, Ariana something or other. She's breaking her out of prison, and she's like, "Oh, did my dad send the shortest soldier?" But the way that the scene is shot, we don't know that he's short. Everything about the way
that Kevin Hart, I'm assuming.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's a joke with no payoff because the filmmakers failed. Like it's incredible to witness. Like I've no
Kevin Hart's short though. That. We all know it.
Well, we know that. But like, if you've never seen a Kevin Hart movie before, you don't know that.
I do wonder if more was shot for this, or something. Like I wonder what parts were the reshoots. It's a little hard for me to tell, unless it's all the green screen stuff, which doesn't look that well done. I don't know. The effects they seem
they're a mixed bag,
almost throwback. Like they don't seem modern CG effects. Like every green screen is just like super apparent. It's interesting.
Let me ask something that may be kind of controversial, considering a lot of people on this channel are fans of horror films. But at what point do we start saying Eli Roth can't make films?
Well, first of all,
sucks
M. Night still gets. Go ahead.
Oh, please go first. You beat me to the draw, Lindsay. It's all.
I was just gonna say, if M. Night can still keep making movies, keep letting Eli.
M. Night's funding himself, though.
Sure, maybe Eli's got to fund one or two for himself. Then
Eli's got that friend of Quentin.
He does
thing going.
But go ahead, Gray. I apologize.
It sucks because it's kind of the same thing. Now I'm blanking on her name. I should have looked it up, but the director of the Marvels, it seems like she also went through a whole bunch of this. People are definitely, I believe so. she didn't get her own version of it. Supposedly Marvel cut it down, and then when she showed them it, they made her cut like another 45 minutes. So it's almost like half the movie that she wanted to do with that. I don't know how much studio interference was here with Roth. He seemed like he really didn't want to go back to it. I don't know if that's because of the direction that they made him take. Like it really seems like there was an R-rated film here, but that's not what we're seeing. So I don't know. I don't want to put everything on Roth because he has done some amazing films. Like I really do like. So Thanksgiving isn't that short from, the Death Proof, Planet Terror, amazing like double feature back in the day, but it's its own interesting horror flick that I really enjoyed. But he's got some that are just not good.
Yeah,
I don't know.
He's a really good.
I just view him as hit or miss.
He's a really good glossy like trauma filmmaker that I wouldn't put $20 million on anything he makes.
No.
Be careful with like the trauma filmmakers because like the most famous trauma one is Gunn, right? Like James Gunn did do Tromeo and Juliet, and but I think that directly leads to Super, and then that directly leads to those other ones. Roth has tried. I don't know that he's been successful in everything.
So why
he
does
definitely
he keep
seems to be
chances then?
Quentin Tarantino.
Like you mentioned, he's Tarantino's friend. Yeah, I guess the only thing I'd be doing is insulting him here. He's made some quality stuff in the past.
The
and
House with the
I don't
Clock,
know.
whatever.
House with the Clock on the Walls.
Which is another Jack Black one. He was kind of charming in that. It seems like he could take on Claptrap.
I honestly kind of liked the House with the Clock on the Walls. Like it was kind of forgettable, but I remember as I was watching it, like kind of being into it. I can't tell you anything about it, but I remember not hating it.
It just feels like another, or at least Eli Roth recently feels like another version of who did X-Men 3? Brett Ratner.
Yeah.
He feels like
Ratner.
All right, we need something that people know, but we don't want them to affect the outcome so much. So we're just going to take not Brett Ratner, but here's Eli Roth and make this movie. And apparently that didn't happen this time because writers walked away and didn't take credit for it. So I mean, you have a good point, Lindsay. M. Night just keeps throwing shit out there, but he's paying for it.
Which I respect. I wish he was making better movies with it, but I respect it.
I agree.
Yeah.
But it just feels, for as much criticism as Hollywood dishes out for various things for people and people who are related to other people and have cushy jobs for certain familial reasons, they have to start looking inward, because if we're going on, quality, on merit, what you're supposed to count these things on, why do these people get these primo gigs?
I mean, that's a question I ask about David Zaslav every day of my life. So,
he was coming off of The House with the Clock in its Walls. That gets like a 6.1 on IMDb. So,
and then it gets $120 million to work with this.
Well,
but
I mean, was that the budget initially? Or does that like now the inflated one with the additional reshoots and the 2 years in the can doing like the special effects or whatever?
It was probably like 80 or 90 before they started doing reshoots. Like a 30 is a lot for reshoots, but like, it feels like a comfortable. But wait, what was I going to say? Brain, you had a thought. Where'd it go?
Sorry for derailing.
No, you're good. I'll come back to it.
Eli Roth.
Oh, I don't know. If you really embrace the insanity and the violence of the Borderlands games and like the over-the-topness and kind of the childish humor, I think Eli Roth could actually be a pretty good director for Borderlands. But you have to really embrace the insanity of Pandora and the complete over-the-topness.
He seems to be a one-trick pony. If you need douchebag frat bros, like it's been said in the chat a couple of times, and you need some like tacky element of horror, he's your guy. But is that what the Borderlands game series is?
I know it's less effective for some people, but like I don't know. I feel like he branched out a little bit with now I'm blanking on it. I wanted to call it Death Wish.
Yeah,
I don't
another
know.
Brett Ratner-esque movie where it's just like,
Fair
okay.
enough. And it is a remake of another IP. It is something that, people kind of know about.
Mhm.
And it's, a vehicle. You get Bruce Willis in there as retaking the role of action star. I don't know. I kind of dig that one. I think he's got more than the one trick in him, but I just wonder how much studio interference there is in something like this. I just have a sneaking suspicion it was promised as an R, and they
Yeah.
didn't let him keep the R. There's a reason why he didn't come back. I don't know exactly what it is, but I think that has something to do with it. So I don't know if he's the one to blame for this, just like I wouldn't blame David Ayer for, his version of Suicide Squad.
So
But-
Quentin Tarantino doesn't have enough pull to get this made in R?
I mean, he was using his pull elsewhere. I'm not sure.
It's just strange. Like if you're going to get somebody who's really best served, well, you have to erase Thanksgiving because they made this before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
What was his hit? What was like? Where had he succeeded prior to this? Why are you putting so much behind someone who hasn't proven much?
Finn. There's that.
Which one?
Eli Roth and a professional group of scientists, researchers, and activists sail around the globe to unveil the truth behind the death of millions of sharks. Finn, the documentary.
Oh yeah, Finn, of course.
Yeah. This actually would have been around the same time, so it's 2021. So I'm not sure exactly when that one was filmed, but supposedly Borderlands was 2021.
Is Borderlands considered an entry-level game?
I mean, it's bottom of the barrel. I don't know if you'd consider it entry level. I would assume with an IP like that and a budget like that, you'd want kind of a name, and Eli Roth is kind of a name. I don't know he's the name for PG-13 stuff.
He's kind of a name. Kevin Hart is kind of a name. Kate Blanchett is kind of a name. Jamie Lee Curtis is kind of a name. And between them,
and sat on the shelves for 3 years.
Yeah.
So
I don't. Something's wrong here. I'm sorry. Something's wrong.
well, and then why do you release it now? Like it feels like we had kind of a drought a little bit earlier in the season, but like 2 weeks after Wolverine or Deadpool and Wolverine, like it feels like that. I don't know.
My theory is I think they want everyone to just forget about this movie.
Lindsay,
And by releasing it in the shadow of Deadpool and Wolverine, that might happen. Go ahead. Sorry.
Lindsay, is this just Lionsgate, or is it Lionsgate with Paramount, maybe Sony?
I don't know. Can a lion open a gate? I'm not sure.
Can you just,
no.
Mr. Budget, looking into?
And by the way, House of the Clock on the Walls was made for $42 million, and it got 131, so 3 times its budget.
Yeah. So why wouldn't this one do that?
Yeah, exactly. Jack Black is the reason why Mario made $28 billion. Yeah, it's translation.
What?
I don't know. I'm just saying words. Also, it
No,
was
the Bowser song. It was great.
directed Marvels, by the way. It wasn't Ava DuVernay.
Thank you.
Oh, Captain Marvel. not
Always
the-
forget
right.
her name.
So you want me to look up CP? Sorry, CPO.
Who's distributing this
Yes.
wonderful film?
This cinematic.
Cody seems to have said Sony. I kind of have a feeling
it
he might be
Sony?
right on this.
What's up, Cody? It definitely feels like a Sony thing too.
Because if it is Sony, that makes more sense to delay it and just wait till you have all the Alamos to make your own money.
I do
from it.
believe one of the producers on this, their next upcoming thing is Craven. So, yeah, it sounds like it would be Sony.
So Lionsgate is the distributor. The production companies, most of whom don't have links I can click on Wikipedia.
All right. So if Lionsgate is there, that means they couldn't. They had to have some sort of agreed release. Because if it was just Sony, you hang on to it. You just keep delaying it till you have a couple of theaters to kind of focus on.
Maybe. Yeah, okay.
But I don't know.
It's also possible that like maybe they were hoping because like some recent video game things have been pretty good, and people are kind of really getting hyped for things like Arcane Season 2 and other stuff like that. Maybe they were hoping to try and hop on the wave, but I'm not sure why they'd want to hop on that wave so close to something that's obviously going to destroy it at the box office.
We'd have to think it's the wave from like 2019, 2020, because this was, 2021 production. So I don't know. That shelf didn't do it justice.
It also is, it needs to be pointed out, I don't know if anyone's really cared about Borderlands in like 7 or 8 years. So like technically this movie's like also like a decade too late. Like I don't know if we've had a new game since like 2017. I could be wrong about that. But actually I'm going to double check it right now.
While you're doing that, I saw It Ends With Us. And
I
don't
watched
know
that today too.
Did you? What did you think of it?
It was a much different experience than I was expecting. I thought I was going into like a romance, and it's like, oh, okay, so this is a pretty heavy drama. But I was not familiar with the book beforehand, but apparently the book is much more graphic and spells out the scenes. Where this one, I actually didn't quite understand what was being portrayed in the way that they decided to show the events of certain events. So it was just it was interesting to me. It was not what I expected. I thought, hey, it's made 50 million, it's okay, this is I am also not the target audience for this, I don't believe. But
no,
didn't hate it, but
no, it is what it is. It's melodramatic. I agree with you, Gray. If you discount the opening, so the movie starts with Blake Lively's character returning home because her father has a funeral. And she leaves the funeral when she like has something, 5 things she thinks are most important about her father, whatever, and then she just bails. And then she meets a guy who's a doctor, and
you didn't mention the napkin. There's a very important napkin.
It was just empty. It's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Scandalous.
Her mom asked her to write 5 5 things she liked about her father, and for some reason she can't write a single one, but she keeps this napkin. So good times.
Yeah, and then it becomes like this weird romance thing where she meets a guy who, I'm sorry, too much of that situation felt way too, I don't want to say perfect. It feels very shallow because a handsome guy who happens to be a neurosurgeon is also single, and when they first meet, it feels too, I don't know, forceful. It
was perfect for you, even though he was forcefully, fighting a chair when he is first introduced.
Then he like wipe out a chair because something happened that he's very frustrated about. And he loves his work. That's what you get from that scene. And they're just flirting and talking in a way that it's like, I'm sorry.
He's a passionate man.
Some random person's just sitting on my roof, and I'm gonna be a flirtatious. Well, anyway, that happens, and you're like, oh, okay, we're getting a weird date movie thing, and it slowly turns into something else. It is very melodramatic, and then you get the reason why the funeral thing happens. With like the scene they open with kind of makes a bit more sense towards the end of the movie, and I don't know. It's nice to see something like this make money, but I don't know if it breaks any ground anywhere.
So are you dying to see the sequel? Because the book has a follow-up. I think it's...
oh, wait. I thought
it begins like this, or this is... I can't remember.
Yeah.
It's a play on it, but it's about how it begins.
I thought the book was like a prequel.
That one is not. Supposedly it is Atlas and... it is 2 characters from this and their future. So maybe 3 characters. But yeah, apparently the book is kind of controversial because some people say it romanticizes certain horrible behaviors.
Struggle snuggle.
I didn't get that from this. The depiction of it, I thought it glossed over it like way too quickly. So it's actually a bit confusing until it kind of shows you other parts of the scene later. Apparently, the book does not do that. So I don't know. It's interesting. I could understand why people would be into this and why they'd want to see where this goes. Like, you definitely. I guess that was the most intriguing part to me when it keeps flashing to her original relationship. I don't know. I guess I wanted to know a little bit more of that. I'm glad they did something that they did not do in the book with this. A lot of the flashbacks, I have not. Okay. I thoroughly kind of deep dove into it to make sure, am I missing something? Like, how is this a best-selling series? But yeah, apparently Ellen DeGeneres features heavily in the actual books. All of the hello, sir.
What's up, sir?
Cody.
Hello. All of the flashbacks happen to be done in journal form, and the conceit of the journal is this teenager is writing to her best friend Ellen DeGeneres. So it's quite weird.
It's on the TV.
There's a couple nods to her.
There's a first act where everything feels so shallow about everything. Single doctor who's a really good doctor, doesn't look bad at all. But then she talks about
doesn't look bad. The dude is, he's cut, man.
Well, yeah, I was
muscled.
trying to be polite. And then when she talks about something, her first fling was a homeless kid, and it just, I don't know how to call it white savior without it being white savior, because there's like, it's just so Breakfast at Tiffany's for shallow C words. But it does not maintain that.
What fucking movie are we talking about here?
You lost me here.
I come in and it's like Ellen DeGeneres,
we're talking about
and white
Borderlands.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Cody, you
Director's
saw
cut.
Borderlands.
I did.
Thoughts?
Not good at all, but like the level of hyperbole against it's been a little ridiculous. It's something. For the amount of movies that we see, like, this is the greatest thing of the year, this is the scariest movie of the year. The fact that this one, at least since Madam Web, has gotten that, like, this is the worst thing I've ever experienced. It's like, it's not that bad. It's equally as offensive as 90% of other video game adaptations.
I will say it was kind of nice to have another bad one, because like we've been eating good for a while. Every now and again, you got to eat something crappy, like it's a good.
There's a lot of Halo on the menu.
That's true. Yeah.
Well, the movie was sat on the shelf since 2021, so I don't really. When I saw it, I was like, really? Like, I thought we were done with this, and then I read into it. I'm like, oh, okay, this is from that other era,
like before time.
This is pre Last of Us and Fallout.
Oh wow! I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We don't need any more of these. We can do TV series for most of them. I think hopefully we've learned our lessons.
It's a post Detective Pikachu world. We're good with quality video game movies now. That's okay.
I just want to tie a bow around the It Ends With Us. Yeah. I think I'm desensitized to shitty people in movies because of my Who Would Like That series. Just in case somebody's like, he's thinking or talking about this in a rather dismissive manner, but it's melodramatic. It doesn't feel like it's anything new. There are topics that are kind of sprinkled in and fresh and new, but same song, different verse with different trigger points. So we have about 20 minutes. Maybe we'll flash through this.
Mm-hmm.
D23 happened this weekend, and some of the announcements were a new Star Wars series, Skeleton Crew, premiering in December. Moana 2, which
also been shelved for a while.
Who?
Oh, Skeleton Crew.
Skeleton Crew. Supposedly it's been done for quite a while.
Oh,
I don't know.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. Yeah,
I knew nothing about it until I watched the trailer. I'm like, oh, kids trying to survive in the Star Wars verse? That seems kind of fun. But
it does look Goonies-ish,
right?
if I do say so.
Ha!
Yeah, and again, there's some big names involved in this. I believe it's Jude Law, and then there's a couple other people as well that are, I don't know. It seems interesting. it doesn't seem like it's quite getting the backing that some of the other shows have gotten. So we'll see. It looks kind of cute though.
I think people are just tired of their shit. Or they're just like, never mind. Disney, Star Wars, Disney Plus, I'm good.
So Moana 2 was announced too. That it says live action, but it's not live action, is it? It's
No,
it
it was
live action next to it.
It's
Lilo and Stitch live action.
Maybe
Another pseudo Hawaiian Disney thing.
If
But
we
that's-
don't get a bunch of teasers with the Stitch invading all of the live action Disney remakes, what is the point?
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Oh,
You guys remember that when the Lilo and Stitch first came out?
Yes.
They had all these little teasers.
I do remember that.
Somebody at Disney's got to be smart enough to do that. Come on now. That would get me to buy a ticket.
I don't know.
I don't know if they're still there.
Yeah.
So the other thing that's live action is we're getting the Lion King live action sequel, Mufasa.
I felt less than nothing watching that trailer. I felt dead inside.
But
I
they
didn't watch
smile
it.
now.
You don't
I
want to
smile.
see future, learn about the past. It's going to be great.
I didn't watch any of these trailers, but I read somewhere that I guess they're like retconning where Mufasa is an adopted child and Scar was the heir, and that's why he becomes evil. And it's like, are we really going to deconstruct Scar to be sympathetic? Do we have to do that to every Disney villain
Yes.
in live action?
Yes,
I hate
we're going
that.
to
That
Maleficent.
pissed me off so much when they did that in Hocus Pocus 2. It's like, we eat children, but actually we're kind of okay. No, what the fuck?
No one can be the bad guy anymore. I miss it, man. Just give me like a blatantly evil. Well, I think the last blatantly evil Disney thing was it the guy from the Frog, Princess and the Frog, the voodoo guy. Like he was kind of cool. But I
The
think
one that Keith David did the voice
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah, wasn't something daddy. Yeah, that was a pretty
I don't know.
interesting
He was spooky, and he killed a character on screen. That little glow bug, he stepped on that thing.
Yeah.
It died.
Christian Nichols, $2 super chat. Thank you. Top
hell
2 or
yeah.
3 video game to screen adaptations.
Ooh.
Last of Us, easy number 1 for me, and it's not even close. I have not had the pleasure of watching Fallout yet, only the first episode, but that seems to be one that would be on there for most people. I still have this nostalgic love for the original Mortal Kombat.
A lot of people do.
I shouldn't, but it's actually kind of sad. I always bring it up every time I review a new one. I'm like, how the fuck is this still the best one? But and the Silent Hill one's actually pretty good. That one's kind of
I do like
overrated a bit.
the first Silent Hill. I never saw the second one, but the first one is really
Same.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, fun
Visually,
fact about
it's
that movie:
there.
they made like 200 different versions of that lady's costume, so it could be shown in like increasingly like ragged and dirty and like torn apart. And like I'm sure every movie did that, but like that's just a fact. And like I don't know, I love it. That's really cool.
And I have a hard time calling it a video game movie, but I thought that Gran Turismo was damn good last year. But that's really more of a sports film that kind of just integrates video game culture into it. It's not really an adaptation, if you will.
Oh, was that David Harbour movie?
Mm-hmm.
I totally forgot about that.
Way better than I thought it was going to be. I think it was in my top
Way
10 of
better
the
than
year.
it should have been. Yeah.
I'll
If
check
I'm
it out.
sticking to movies, I would probably say Super Mario Brothers.
It's fun.
Which one?
It is amazing. That's where we learned his
90s
last
version.
name. Mario.
The one with or without Dennis Hopper.
I guess the Sonic are okay
Sonic
too.
2 is solid as hell, yeah.
I said it as a joke, but I honestly do really like Detective Pikachu. Like I know it's kind of dumb.
Is that a game? I thought that was.
Yeah, I don't know if that's technically a game. I don't
Well,
know.
it was like a spin-off
Sure,
game,
what
and then they made it into a movie.
I didn't
Oh.
hate it. I have
Fair
no
enough.
knowledge of Pokemon, but even the wife enjoyed it too. We just
Just cute
Except-
animals.
Yeah.
Emily
And I-
knew. The,
I get a lot of guilty pleasure out of about half of the Resident Evil movies. I know they're
I was going
hated.
to say, there's two of them that like I know they're bad, but Resident Evil 1 for some reason is good, and then Street Fighter with Raul Julia. Like I don't like it's a horrible movie, but somehow I like that movie. Maybe I was just like the right age and just had a copy of it. But man, I don't know if I was to go best adaptations. Fallout might be up there for me
Yeah.
right now.
Oh, it's really good.
TV series have been really good. So far, they're 2 for, not counting Halo, 2 for 2 with Fallout and Last of Us, and we're getting a season 2 of that next year, and that's awesome.
It's crazy it's taken this long for people to figure out. Maybe don't adapt 20-hour stories into 90-minute movies.
Yeah.
Like, don't try to do a Metal Gear Solid movie. Just stop. Just don't. Just quit. Do a show.
I know it's going to be bad, but I know that movie that's in production with the guy from Kong Skull Island, I have hope. Like I know I'm going to get hurt. I know it's going to be bad, but I'm going to let my hopes get up for that one. We'll see.
Yeah.
Thanks again, Christian. What
Yeah.
do you have there in front of you, Lindsay, to kind of wrap up the D23 discussions and
So we already mentioned Moana. The first look at the live action Snow White.
Poor Scar.
Scar was bullied. That's amazing.
It's so
It looked
adorable.
magical.
It's so adorable to me. You got Disney that are like, Peter Dinklage yelled at him, so they're like, yeah, you're right. It's like way too offensive to have dwarves in this movie now, so we're gonna have magical creatures. And then that got backlash, and they're like, never mind, we're gonna have dwarves, but fuck all the actors. We're just gonna tune them in the computer.
Yeah,
It's gonna be living cartoons.
So
How did we end up with this? They look horrible in a
do.
weird, haunting way.
full disturbing.
Isn't this supposed to be live action? Like,
supposed to be, and I think they shot the movie with various creatures to take over the dwarves, and then they got cold feet with that and replaced them with PS3 graphic characters.
but isn't that offensive too? Like,
That's my
isn't this
thing. It's like
still an offensive
if dwarves as a character is offensive, you've done nothing. Now all you've done is taken the most famous role that a little person actor can take and taken it away from him. And so just the whole thing is so weird. Like, I don't know. And then you have the star of the movie that ran her mouth all last year. So it's going to be one that I don't think is going to succeed.
they
I mean, it's easy to say that, but have any of these live action Disney movies done poorly? Like, what's the lowest grossing of? Like, I don't think I don't want it to do well. It deserves to not really do that well because I hate all these live act, but they've all done hundreds of millions of dollars, right?
Yeah.
some of them have crossed $1 billion.
A lot of them. have.
Aladdin did
Yeah.
really well.
Ooh.
Aladdin was great though.
It was an
Yeah, I don't know.
experience.
We're not really the target
kinda thought-
audience. So
No, very true.
Didn't Mulan have like kind of a drop? Because wasn't it right during the pandemic thing or whatever?
That is a good point, actually.
yeah, that was one.
So, I don't know. That might be the
day and date.
worst.
I think.
Yeah, and then they did that. Like, you could buy it for $30 and own it forever on Disney Plus thing for a little bit. That they got a lot of backlash on.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that
wait,
might be the lowest box office one.
it is. I'm not even going to bother looking at the rest of them. Do you want to know what it is? Do anyone want to take a guess at what it is? It's amazing.
Well, no Eddie Murphy, so I'm guessing like 30 million.
Oh, you're meaner than reality. 69.
Oh wow! What
Yeah.
year?
Nice.
If it's 2020, that makes sense.
2020. Yeah.
Yeah, so nothing was open back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still though, 69 million for it. I'm like, woof. Anyway,
Little Mermaid still did really good despite all that quote unquote controversy. So
that is
it
true.
might end up doing okay. It all depends on if people buy into the marketing or not.
I think if you know what the hell the deal is behind the scenes, you just put everything you're unsure about in that Snow White movie, because with the actress ruining as much as possible with her public image and what she's been saying, just do everything that you're not really confident in, and then just blame her when everything fails. Like, if she just kept her mouth shut, the dwarves would have worked, the CGI would have worked, but nope.
Do you think they paid her a little extra? No. So that then they could put the blame on her? No.
They probably just pulled her aside after the 4th clip went viral, and they're like, "Shut the fuck up, please." Hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah. I don't know why they're still going. Like, why not just pack it in and figure something else out?
Well, speaking of still going, Toy Story 5 was also...
Woo!
Ooh. And I love that preview in particular because there's 3 characters on screen. Not one of them talk, and the reason is because it would have cost at least $1 million for any of those actors to come in to give a quick one line, and I adore it. So instead, they're just waving awkwardly. Also, we don't need more Toy Story. 4 was fine.
3 was fine.
3 was great. I really like 3. 4 was a step down, I thought, but I still kind of liked it. But come on, just stop, man. You're ahead. You're still ahead. Just stop while you're ahead.
4 is midlife crisis, Woody. That's
It
all.
is. Yeah.
For as much as I love that franchise, this one bums me out because I'm one of those people that feel like the trilogy should have stopped there. Like it's you knocked 3 movies out of the park, 5 out of 5. Just that was a perfect way to end things. And I tried my hardest to love 4. I watched it 3 times, and I'm like, it's going to click eventually. And just
I'm just not getting.
There's things that I like in the movie, but just overall, there was so much that I just could not stomach in that. Like the fact that Bonnie, who, if you watch the end of 3, like Andy was going to take Woody with him and leave her with the rest of them, and she fucking threw a little fit, and he's like, okay, you can have this one too. And then cut to Toy Story 4, and she's like, fuck this toy, go to the closet. And it's like, you bitch, he could have just went with Andy. Anyway, so you have that. So it's like, you make me hate the child for reasons that are absolutely ridiculous for an adult to have, but I can't deny my feelings.
No, the reasons exist.
And so then you have all the adventures of 4, and then it's all just to let Woody go off with his chick and leave everybody. And then now in 5, they're all back together at Bonnie's house, but now she doesn't like any of them because she's into iPads and shit. And it's like, what are we doing? Oh, I'm sure it's still going to be fun. Like even the 4th one is fun. There's something to be said sometimes about being able to stop.
Yeah,
And 3 to me was just like you could not, for somebody that grew up with the first one when I was like, was that 96?
Yeah.
So I was 6 years old.
So.
So that whole
That's
trilogy
right,
is
your
like
wheelhouse,
my
right?
life. I was basically Andy's age at every single point, and so just that was it for me.
Yeah, I think the 5th one, I mean, because there are a lot of fans of the 4th one. I just think that with part 5 now, you're getting a 3rd generation of kids that it may be targeted towards. And I would assume that they would nail it with doing toys versus computer shit, because Pixar's, if nothing else, they're at least decent at poking at your emotions. I'm trying to think if they've ever missed.
I mean, they've had misfires. Little Dinosaur wasn't so great, but I don't know if I'd call it bad. Yeah, I didn't even see Lightyear, so
Oops, forgot.
No comment. But
Same franchise. Whoops.
Yeah, that's funny. I forgot Lightyear existed. Cars? I don't know.
Okay.
3 of them.
They're not
plus
as
spin-offs.
flawless as I thought they were.
Yeah.
Well, because I guess I say that because Inside Out 2 apparently was a return to form for them. So
Yeah, it was very good.
I don't know. Just at the end of the day, Pixar does have a great track record. Even though they got a couple of flops, but every time they make another Toy Story sequel, it's like the chances for it to be terrible just go up exponentially. It's like
It's just one of those. I mean, it's old reliable. I mean, we knew this ever since Bob Iger came back, and he's like, "Okay, this is the lesson I'm learning. You guys don't like any of the niche shit that we've been doing, so we're just gonna bank on franchises." And that's all we got here. We got sequels galore. Some of them I'm excited about. Incredibles 3, bring it on. I don't know why we haven't had 5 of those by now.
why do you say that? But you're reluctant with Toy Story?
Because Toy Story felt like it came to a narrative close once, and then they stretched it a little bit too far for me already once. And even for some people, 4 is like the perfect way to end it, where Incredibles, there's still a lot of meat left on those bones. So you had the first one, that's the midlife crisis movie where they're trying to reclaim the glory days, and now their kids are getting into it. The second one, they kind of swap roles, and instead of the husband doing all the secret agent shit, it's the wife. And now there's anywhere you could go. You could go to where the kids are now teenagers, or the kids are turned into adults, and the mom and dad doesn't want them to be a part of the superhero world of current. Or there's just a lot more things to explore there. And when we got Incredibles 2, it was like, God damn, we've been waiting forever for this. So,
do you think there's a little bit of a difference because Incredibles is almost 10 years younger than Toy Story is, and for argument's sake, you're not the target audience for Incredibles, and you don't have an associate, or like you're not tied to it as much as you are Toy Story?
I am, though, because Incredibles, like the original Toy Story, the original Toy Story is probably my number 1 animated film of all time. And Incredibles is easily probably in my top 5. And they'd be my number 1 and number 2 if I was going to do just Pixar. So I was over the moon when we finally got 2. And I mean, I like I said, I just think there's still a lot more we can do with that, where I don't have any alarm bells ringing like, really, what else is there to do with Incredibles? Quite a bit.
No, I agree. Like in Toy Story, there's always been like a certain finality about it, like in a lot of the movies, because it's about growing up. It's about getting older. It's like it's sooner or later. Like I don't know, like how many times
the next gen, man?
Yeah, I guess
the next gen's getting old.
You know what? No, we're the last generation. No one else is going to live on this planet.
Oh, we will be.
Ooh, my joke is a threat now.
See, that's what I thought when I think of Incredibles. Like, technically, if there was only one, I could understand that. But then with the second one, I understand that too. Like, if you stopped after either of those, it kind of makes sense. But like Cody said, it's a reversal of roles, and once you've done that twice already, what do you do for the third time?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you just have the kids just be in college, and maybe Violet got pregnant on accident or something, and so she's about to have her own kid. Or
Dash,
okay, maybe
Dash
not
is on a
that
bender.
one.
Yeah. Or you
I'm
could,
just spitballing here. Okay, there's no bad ideas.
Okay.
It's just-
As long as we're just spitballing the grandparents, they haven't been involved yet.
Oh.
Let's get the other generation in there.
There we
Yeah,
go.
there you go.
They haven't taken it in the boys' direction yet, so there's that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it just seems weird to me. I mean, aside from just Toy Story being their biggest franchise, it feels like you could do another Monsters Inc. movie. You could do another Ratatouille. You could visit some of these other ones. Even, I mean, Finding Nemo Finding Dory I didn't like as much as Finding Nemo Anywhere Close, so I don't know if I would go back to that one or not. But it feels like there's other places, and Toy Story 5 is just like, well, let's print money again.
Yeah.
Remember, they kind of tried to branch out, like keeping part of the Toy Story IP. Now I'm forgetting what it was called, but
Lightyear.
Lightyear. Thank you. I wanted to call it Star Command, but that was the cartoon version.
It was better than Lightyear.
I was going to say it wasn't a bad show, especially in comparison. But I don't know. It wasn't successful for them, but they know this well is producing. Like they haven't gotten a bad hit out of anything Toy Story.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why they just keep coming back, which it kind of sucks. I feel like that's kind of their MO now with every one of the IPs. But
Yeah,
we'll
that's
see.
my complaint about all the noise that people make online about Disney is shut up and stop buying it. Because if you don't pay for it, they'll definitely notice, trust me.
Mm-hmm.
But, any news is good news when you're making money off that shit. But I digest. So
Digest already. You're always digesting.
we always do that. One last thing before we kind of segue into a different topic. What was announced earlier this weekend was Ghostbusters getting an animated series.
God.
First time
and
hearing of this.
It's
Yeah.
going to Netflix.
Ooh,
Oh, so it'll last a season?
well,
Pretty good. Canceled.
the animation will probably look pretty decent, but
Oh, also, sorry, one other D23 thing. Agatha All Along. I think it's appropriate.
That's
We
a
kind of
series,
forgot
right?
about that. Yeah, like I love what's her face from Parks and Rec. I'll always watch anything
Aubrey
with
Plaza,
her in
man.
it. Yeah, I'm totally down. But just like I just don't
think
care
she
about
could
this
choose some
character
scenery as a villain.
or- I don't know.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I haven't been this disinterested in a Marvel thing in a while, but back to the subject at hand. Sorry, I just wanted to throw that out there before we moved on.
5 years later, we can't get a script for Blade, but Agatha gets
Oh God!
hey, we got Wesley
it
back.
make
That's
sense.
all you can ask for.
Well,
Pretty sure
more
that
of
was
them.
Ryan Reynolds' way of saying, like, okay, you can't get this shit made. Look what everybody does when he walks out.
If I was an executive at Disney or Fox, whatever, I'd be like, keep him away from cameras, please. I don't want Ryan Reynolds costing me money. So they haven't shown anything, but do you think that the Ghostbusters animated series would be the real Ghostbusters that we saw, or that was, or there was two animated Ghostbusters thing. One was weird, and one was kind of more realistic based on the movie. But
There's a few.
I like
Extreme
Extreme
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters. Yeah, the one with the wheelchair guy.
Yeah, right, dude. That guy was dope.
Yeah, no, I hope they kind of do that, but you have to remember, their whole thing was to make this the new generation, the Finn Wolfhard gen. Those guys are the actual Ghostbusters now. So I don't think it's going to be like the real Ghostbusters unless they're doing cartoon form of those new characters. But
can they
Yeah, I
kill
think
some
it's-
of the people that were in Frozen Empire off, please?
God, there's so many characters.
I don't think so. But now we've got, what is it, James Acaster and a whole bunch of other people in the mix too. I don't know. I'm assuming those are going to be the characters. We're not going like the classic four.
Cody?
I mean, they still want to make these movies, I assume. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's just a whole unique cast. It's just Ghostbusters, and it's not tied into the movies. It's not trying to replicate Bill Murray or anybody, and it's just Ghostbusters stuff for kids.
Yeah. Plus, if you
It'd be
consider
fun to see him actually bust a ghost. Like I feel like that's what a lot of that movie was missing.
I want a Ghostbuster to give someone a bill. Remember that scene from the first Ghostbusters movie where they're like adding on all the charges and stuff like that?
Yeah.
I want that back.
ghost chess tours. A lot of chess playing between ghosts. Considering it is a streaming series, it may last a little bit longer because Sony doesn't have any skin in that game. They have theaters now. They don't have any streaming apps. So I guess there's that. And they have been kind of friendly with Netflix in regards to getting their stuff over there. So maybe we get more than one series. Maybe. And last but not least, before we head over to a different location for the same shit. Coming out this week is Alien Romulus.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And it's hard to not feel excited for it, but is there any chance that this doesn't do well? Or
Shut your whore mouth. It's going to be amazing.
or does well?
When you look at the franchise, yes, there's a very good chance this will not be good. I don't think that. Everything I've shown looks like the dude actually has some reverence for it. I think it's going to be great. I'm hoping it will be anyway.
Cody?
I have full confidence that I'm going to love it. I don't know like how much it's going to tear up the box office or not. Horror is kind of hard to predict nowadays. Sometimes you'll have weird ones like Long Legs just kill it, and then sometimes you'll have movies like Abigail that seem like everybody really enjoys it, and it just doesn't really get much traction. So I don't know. It's one of those franchises where I don't know if people are still kind of like another one of these or not.
Yeah.
Like
it's hard.
we're so excited because we know who the director is,
Right.
but how many people do?
Yeah, I got faith in
Good point.
Fede. Is it Fede? Am I pronouncing
Fede
that right?
Alvarez,
Bro's got a great track record. Trailer looks amazing. I'm down. I don't know. And also, like, what was the last Alien movie?
Covenant.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah,
Alien Covenant and Prometheus, they weren't my favorite, but I did like them. But it would be very cool to get back to just like an old school, like just trapped in a small space. I want that so badly, and this is going to be that. So
I
or
agree.
hopefully, yeah.
If you're not going to do Prometheus, do Alien, because Covenant was, hey, how about something from both of them? And it really didn't do either perfect. And yeah, just go back to the Alien shit, please, and stick away. I mean, if you're going to do Prometheus, let Ridley Scott go do it. And I don't know. Yeah, it looks very. It looks a lot like an 80s Alien movie, whether it be Alien or Aliens. It looks, at least the trailer does, looks like something we haven't seen in 30, 40 years now.
Canonically, it's between the first two films, and from what I'm not really reading anything about it, but I've seen little blurbs, and one of them said basically it's him kind of combining the styles of both, and I'm like, oh yes, please.
Wow,
That would be awesome. James Cameron horror film. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, supposedly it's like the colony from 2. They're just outside of it. So,
can we
it's
maybe get the characters from 2 then? Mostly.
I'm way more excited for this than anything since 3. But
Post-credit scene is Sigourney Weaver waking up, and then she lets the Michael Biehn out, and she straight out, yes, I finally fucking did it.
Get over here, Newt.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Sorry to rush this, but if you stay on the channel, it'll be a different address. We're going to be talking about 2024 thus far, pros, cons, surprises, and the like. But until next week, where we'll be discussing Alien Romulus, we're going to go down for about 5 to 10 minutes and then see you on the different channel.